Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. Over the last few videos, I've been talking about why I believe that Bitcoin is going to see a reversal and why we're ultimately going to be finishing the next leg up inside of this impulse. When this next leg up happens, I expect that altcoins are going to explode, and all of our altcoin charts are currently showing us that a big breakout is coming very soon. For today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Bitcoin and the altcoin dominance, knowing exactly when we're going to start to see some of that money going back into these altcoins and why this next leg up is about to be one that is insanely profitable to trade. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, now here we are to start off today's video, and we're going to be taking a look at a full round deep dive, going into Bitcoin, going into Ethereum, and then also looking into the altcoins as a whole. A lot of you guys have been asking me, where do I think the altcoins are going to finally start to outperform again? Do I think that altcoins are going to have another run? And the answer to that is yes, mainly because of the fact this entire run up, we really haven't seen any of the altcoins take off. If we look at the Bitcoin dominance, we've been inside of this range since May of 2021. So we've been inside of this range for a long period of time. Now, the thing is, right now we're retesting the range high as resistance, and it's looking like we are getting a rejection. So anytime Bitcoin dominance, indicated by this chart, goes down, we see altcoins outperform and actually gain dominance against Bitcoin. And so we've been inside of this range for a long time, and when we look at Ethereum against Bitcoin being the staple of value in the altcoin market, we actually see this long-term uptrend and really the beginning of a parabolic impulse. Now guys, in 2016 to 2017, this was Ethereum. We made this first impulse here, and then we made this big blow off top to finish out that massive alt run in 2017. Now, in that time, ever since June of 2017, it wasn't even the top because Bitcoin topped at 20K here, and altcoins made a lower high against Bitcoin. So we actually ended up seeing altcoins top mid-summer of 2017. So we've been going through this entire period of reaccumulation, building a foundation of support before we can inevitably break out and make a new all-time high. Now, a lot of people are doubting on Ethereum. A lot of people think that it's never going to have a new cycle against Bitcoin, and I highly doubt that, because considering the fact when we look at the all-time graph of Bitcoin dominance, it's in a never-ending downtrend, right? This has been in a downtrend since there. We really heightened the downtrend being right here, and now I believe that whether we reject here or whether we make one final breakout outside of this resistance, it doesn't really matter to me. When I look at the ETH BTC chart, to me this doesn't look like anything that's going to go down and make a new low. So when I'm looking at ETH, or when I'm looking at the Bitcoin dominance, am I leaning towards us making one final kind of blow off top here, clearing the range highs before doing something like this? Not necessarily, and a lot of that is just because of the fact when we're looking at the ETH BTC chart, this thing doesn't look like it's going to see a lower low, and really this move right here was an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we just finished a really obvious ABC correction right here, retesting the ascending support, and now it's looking like we're ready to get that next leg up. If this is an actual impulse like I just drew and like I think it is, we're going to be looking at this as a one wave, and then we're going to be getting wave 3, and it'll look something like this, right? That's literally what is in store for this chart over the next year, year and a half, once we truly get this breakout, because we've been holding inside of this range since May of 2021. Keep in mind, guys, that the whole time the ETH has been inside of this range here, Bitcoin dominance, wrong chart, Bitcoin dominance has been in the exact same trend. And that's why I share with you guys the ETH BTC chart, because whatever Bitcoin dominance is doing, ETH is going to be doing the counter opposite. And so with ETH being the driver of value in the altcoins, whatever the BTC chart, or what I should say the Bitcoin dominance chart is doing, we're going to expect to see the opposite inside of the ETH BTC. So with this being at resistance, this thing is at a very real potential of seeing a correction from this. Because, I mean, up to this point, every time we've hit this range high, we've sold off. Literally every time we've hit this range high, we've sold off all the way back down to this support down in here. So now the question comes, are we going to see a reversal point of this, or could this just ultimately end up being a mid-range correction before that final impulse, because this is something I'm watching. And those are really the only two scenarios that I see. When I look at ETH BTC, to me, this thing just looks like it's ready to keep going up. And that tells me that most likely this is and what that tells me is this most likely isn't going to be breaking out and making a new high. So with this being at resistance, I'm leaning towards the ETH BTC chart breaking out. And if this chart breaks out, we're going to see altcoins as a whole break out too. Now, what I find so interesting about all of this, guys, you guys got to remember that our entire last bull run was this for Ethereum BTC. The 2017 bull run was nothing but price discovery the entire way up. So anybody that's trying to compare our last cycle to 2017, there is no comparison. They're not even close to being the same cycle. However, I believe that this cycle that we're in right now is going to behave much more accordingly to 2017, because inside of our last cycle, the BTC pairs were never in price discovery. They never broke out of this high or this high. They were well below. They were consolidating at resistance in the mid-range of the entire cycle. So with that being said, you can't have a true bull run or a true parabolic rally when altcoins aren't going into price discovery against Bitcoin. Yes, we did see altcoins take off in the last cycle. We did see a lot of adoption take place. But as a rule of thumb, when we're comparing the majority of the market, when we're looking at all the high caps, and really when we're looking at Ethereum being the biggest driver of value in the altcoins, it never really had a big new cycle like we expected to see. And that's why I believe our last cycle was us building the foundation for us to inevitably have a big bull run. And that's where I think this cycle is going to be. Now, I think a top is going to happen sometime at the end of 2025. So I'm not saying that it's going to happen instantly. We're just going to break out and start blowing up like crazy. There will be a point where that happens, but I'm not really betting on that happening until probably sometime into the middle point of 2024, maybe even the end of 2024, before we really start to see those massive swings in the price. But this is a really encouraging sign, because if we haven't ever seen, altcoins outperform against their Bitcoin ratios, and we saw how profitable the last cycle was, guys, if you weren't here for 2017, all I can do is tell you from my personal experience, because I got in 2016, so I was there from the very beginning of that last cycle, or that 2016 to 2017 cycle. Throughout that entire time, there was literally any crypto you could have bought. It didn't matter what it was. Pick any crypto in the top 100. They all performed at least 100x from the bottom. And we didn't really see that same type of expansion inside of our last cycle. I mean, there's more liquidity. There's more money. It's not as likely that that's going to happen. But at the same time, we've seen Pepe blow up. We've seen Shiba Inu blow up. We've seen all of these meme coins blowing up over the last couple months. And all of these are signs that there's a lot of money inside of this market, and there's even a lot of, dumb money at that. Now, I'm not saying that if you trade meme coins or if you try and, mess around with low caps, you're dumb. I'm just saying that it's dumb money that's generally gravitating towards those. There's plenty of people that profit off of those narratives. But when we're seeing all of these things, things that generally aren't taking off until the top of the cycle, that are really kind of blowing up at the early portion now, to me, it's either a big warning sign that we're about to go even lower and make a brand new low in the bear market, or it's an encouraging sign that says, hey, there's a lot more money in the market, there's a lot more adoption, there's a lot more on-ramps, and so therefore we can see a lot of narratives take off a lot quicker, which in my opinion is what we're seeing right now. When we come over here and look at Bitcoin, we can see that we're still below descending resistance. We're still stuck inside of this entire consolidation. We don't have any confirmation yet. Yes, we did see a short-term bounce down in here, but we're sitting right at our last line of support that we don't have confirmation by any means. But when we come over here and look at the ETH chart, ETH against its dollar pair is literally sitting and actually is broken outside of its descending resistance. And it's actually acting as support right here. So as it stands, ETH, we don't have true confirmation yet, but this is sitting outside of its descending resistance as support. Whereas when we look at Bitcoin, it's still below. So it makes sense why, the Bitcoin dominance is at resistance. It's starting to look like it's about to top. We look over here at the ETH BTC chart. It's gaining support, looking like it's ready for a breakout. We look at the ETH dollar chart. It's already broken out of its descending resistance. BTC dollar is still below. So we're seeing a lot of outperformance happening right now inside of those altcoins. Is this an encouraging sign? Well, of course. And I think the most encouraging sign is the fact that where ETH is, if we delete this descending resistance, ETH is working on a breakout of this range high. We tried obviously the first try, we didn't work. We tried the first time, we got rejected, but now we're kind of just consolidating right back down in here on prior support. So now as it stands for ETH, we're literally stuck in between the range highs, and we're stuck in between our last resistance now acting as new support. And so we're just in between the range highs right now. And I believe that once this actually takes this next leg up and we flip out of this, it's going to take us upwards of this high here, being 3,500, and on the low end, I would say 3,000. And that's genuinely where I believe ETH is headed. When we look at the altcoins, when we look at Bitcoin, when we look at the total market, for me, ETH looks more bullish than Bitcoin in a lot of different ways. Not only did it hold better support in its bear market, not only did we bottom in June and never made a lower low in the FTX collapse, but we're also looking like we're actually holding better support right here at the range highs. Now, when it comes for Bitcoin, we've already broken out of 25K. So obviously Bitcoin's a little bit more bullish, but Bitcoin's sitting on top of this, 25K region. Whether we go a little bit lower or whether we bottom here, that's not really the point. But when we're seeing ETH kind of sitting at the same region, the thing with ETH has only maintained higher highs throughout this entire bottom consolidation, right? ETH has only maintained higher highs, and we're actually getting an even steeper degree of trend. And that's what's telling me that most likely this thing is getting ready for that big impulse that's going to take us upwards of this 618 Fibonacci being $3,500. And so that's literally my target for Ethereum. And I think that now more than ever, I'm continuing to lean on the bullish thesis. Even though even though BTC looks a little sketchy right here, it doesn't look nearly as good. What I'm seeing ETH looking so bullish against Bitcoin, BTC Dominance at resistance, and also the ETH chart looking like it wants to break out against the dollar. To me, there's just too many different things that are pointing right at the same conclusion, saying most likely we're going to be bullish. So, we're going to ultimately see, we're going to get a strong impulse one way or another. When we're looking at ETH on the shorter time frames, it's pretty obvious to tell what's going to happen. We did just get outside of this descending resistance. So as long as we continue to hold support outside, I believe we're going to get continuation. And that's the way that I'm going to be playing the direction of ETH. And so expect that if ETH is breaking out right now and we're seeing the BTC Dominance at resistance, I would expect to see this is most likely going to break out as long as ETH follows. It's just that ETH is probably going to lead the way. Now, one of the big things I've been updating you guys with has been the S&P 500. And we've been talking a lot about whether we were going to finally break out of these range highs or whether we were going to fall back down. And obviously we broke out in the way that I was expecting that we would. I've been updating you guys a lot talking about why I believe that we were going to be breaking out and running upwards of 43,500. And that's basically where we're almost at. We're currently sitting at 42.72. We only have about 100 left before we hit that target. And then from there, I won't be surprised to see, some type of short-term pullback, even if it's just a little one. But regardless, guys, it's clear skies ahead from here. We broke out of our downtrend bear market. We never made a lower low from that point. We maintained higher highs and higher lows. And now we're breaking out and making another new high. And really, guys, if you were bearish before and you were expecting a bear market, we should have rejected here and kept falling. We shouldn't be breaking out again. So now, in my opinion, that we've got above this resistance here, our new range highs, I honestly think that this thing is pretty much a go-ahead for continuation, and I've been talking a lot about that for a while now. The S&P 500 has been bottomed since October. We've maintained higher highs and higher lows. Even when we bounced and rejected off of this descending resistance, we held support here. We got another move. This one actually took us outside of that bear market downtrend. We corrected back down, bounced off of it twice, and now we're getting a breakout from both of those highs, and we're running upwards of pretty much the last resistance level. Because if you guys remember, if we draw this horizontal line all the way over here, this was our first support that we made, right? Russia FUD came out here. All the Fed employees got to sell all of their stocks and stuff. And then that's where we started this first sell-off, right? All amplified by all of the Russia and Ukraine stuff that was going on. We found this first support level, and we maintained this support level for a little while before rejecting here. Now, we're literally back above that level. And in my opinion, in the same way that in my last video I was talking about how, this 6K level was just such an important level and nobody thought that we'd break out. And once we did break out from it, that was the point where everybody was bullish. The S&P 500 is kind of at that same point where this has been our entire bear market consolidation. This level has acted as support and resistance for a long period of time. Now we've successfully broken out of it after multi-months of accumulation below that resistance. I just don't see how you can continue to be bearish on the market. And I've been very optimistic about the market really since the bottom of the market as a whole. And you guys know we've been trading this entire run up very, very accurately up to this point. I was bearish up here, but after we held support down in here around that 25K region, I started to flip back. I started to go back towards that bullish thesis, and now I'm still sticking to that. We're sitting at the range lows. It's looking a little bit more indecisive with Bitcoin, but with the S&P 500 breaking out, with the ETH dollar chart breaking out and holding better support than Bitcoin, and then also BTC Dominance at resistance and ETH BTC at support, there's just too many things that are telling me that the market has another leg up before this is over, which, you know, if you watch my last video, we talked about what I was expecting. One final blow off top, upwards of 40 and 50K. ETH would run upwards of $300 to $3,500, and it will be an insanely profitable move to trade. Now, anybody that's prepared beforehand, you know, ultimately you just have to have exposure. But I think that the problem most people have is they're still thinking that we're just going to start a brand new bear market. We still have a lower low. They're still drawing this as just, you know, some type of bear market consolidation. And the problem is people don't realize where we're at in the trend. We had our 4-year cycle bottom happen exactly 4 years from our last cycle bottom. And now we've instantly seen a breakout from the 4-year cycle low, giving us our buy signal. We've broken out of the 25K level. We're sitting it on it as support. In my opinion, there is some serious fireworks to be had. So be prepared, be ready. And if you guys want to be able to follow anything else that I do, trades, anything that I do in the market, you guys can follow my Discord server. It's free, or you guys can sign up for my video course Signals. Follow all the trades I take inside of my private group as well. Links are in the description to go ahead and sign up on my website. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And shout out to all the people that are still here supporting. There's a lot of really good things that are coming in this market. I believe this is the biggest cycle that we're ever going to have. And this is literally just the very beginning stages. So all we can do is be patient, be prepared, and that's how we're going to be able to profit. So thank you all so much for the support. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.